Yo everyone, JV here. In honor of launching our new TioPro tournament software, we're sitting down with some of the biggest tournament hosts across the U.S. With me, I have Jonathan AlexStrife Lugo, longtime Smash community member and host of the Apex series, one of the largest fighting game series on the East Coast and probably in the U.S. So thanks for taking the time to be here and sitting down with me.
Hey, no problem, Joe. As always, it's good times, good times.
Yeah, for sure. So, John, what was the first event you ever hosted and when was it?
Wow. I've first event, like first, not Smash related, was I hosted some video game tournaments at my school, Fordham University. Big shout out to John Skelton. He's not that good, but at least he made it NFL. But that was my first tournament. My first major tournament that I actually put together myself was the first Zenith back in 2006. And I did it at a land center called Web 2 Zone, and they gave me $1,000, and I got 26 people. But it was still an amazing event, and I just enjoyed it because I got to be able to do things that most people don't do, which is put together an event that people have fun and go to.
Cool. That's really interesting that the first event you ever hosted wasn't a Smash event. Like most people, the community they are, and the first event they hosted was within that community. So what games was it? You said it was just a school
It
gaming event or something?
it was Halo 2, it was Halo 1 at the time. Marvel's Capcom 2 and Soul Calibur. We did Soul Calibur for GameCube, PS2 we had Marvel, and Xbox obviously was Halo.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things where, when I first started, I was like, oh, let's have, each system have its own little thing, and it was fun. It was really fun, actually.
Cool. Well, that's cool. So what made you get into hosting? I know from experience that as a player, it's a hell of a lot more fun to actually play at a tournament than run a tournament. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of organization goes into it. So it needs a kind of special kind of dude that actually wants to host and organize tournaments. So what kind of made you get into it?
What made me get into hosting was I just felt, well, part of it was I wasn't that good. There's some people that say that are good that TO, but I wasn't that good. The only thing I was good at was Halo, but it was not something I wanted to put my time and devotion to. And to be honest, when I was going to college, it just wasn't something that was really feasible for me, especially when Halo 2 came out. And I played as much as anybody, but it just wasn't meant to be. I started going to MLGs, and I started seeing how amazing these events were, as you could tell with my shirt. And being in the old school crowd back then, I got to see how much fun and smiles people had, and I've always wanted to be somebody who helped people, but I always felt like everybody should have something they do to make people happy, and my contribution to the world, to society, was to make video game tournaments, because in the end, people have fun at them, and it takes people out of the streets and out of bad areas, and they get to enjoy themselves for a weekend, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, there wouldn't be a community without tournament hosts. Like, it needs people that care and want to organize tournaments and spend their time to actually put this together for everyone else, or there wouldn't be a community. Like, no one hosted tournaments, no players would be at tournaments, so.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's just, you know, when I talk about community and talk about all that, I think about those kids, for example, those kids who come from troubled homes, or kids who are just they have nothing but this. And, there's a couple of people in the community I know that do go through that, but so I won't say any names. I don't want to really point anybody out, but there are people that they use this as an outlet. Not just, in my case, Smash or fighting games, but Halo or any other FPS or just StarCraft or anything. This is their outlet. This is what helps them, live at night. That helps them be able to go home and, not have to deal with anything because they feel like this helps them. And that's what I want to do. I want to give them events to help them not just feel better, but to help contribute to society, which, like I said, people don't really think about that. And they should start when they TO. It's not just about, the money or the top players. It's about the new people that find this as an outlet.
Yeah, I think it really creates a sense of community. Like, a lot of people growing up, they have, they play high school sports, and that's their peer group and the people they hang out with. Like, you hang out with people you have the same interests with, and a lot of people from the Smash community, even though they don't go to school with these guys or anything else, they bond and make kind of lifelong friendships just because they're passionate about the same thing, and that's gaming competitively, or you know going to tournaments and stuff like that. So I definitely agree. I think it builds a lot for people, and it kind of paves the way for just like lifelong friendships, experiences, and doing something you're passionate about. So
Yeah, yeah, it also builds character. A lot of people don't realize that. Some of the, for example, some of the top players in Halo created a clothing line. Some of them work for other companies. Some people build games. For example, Seth Killian's a great example. Played Street Fighter for years and years and years. He ended up working for Capcom. Now he works for Sony, making PlayStation All Stars. It's not just the stereotypical like fat lazy nerd that doesn't exist anymore per se. It's a lot of people are just normal people like you and I. Well, not you. You're a freaking nature physically, and I hate you for that. But it's just normal people that just go out there and have fun, and that's what I like to bring to the table. Like, hey, let's all go have fun, and because in the end, even the person who is not the most hardcore gamer will go to a tournament every once in a while just to see what it's like. And, maybe they won't do well, but they'll love watching. And that's really what it's about.
yeah, I mean, there's maybe 1-2% of people at tournaments that actually can win the tournament. Everyone else is there to have fun and experience it and get better. So
Oh, yeah.
just lost my mic there. So next question: if you had to kind of quantify what's the most challenging part of being a host, what do you think it is?
The hardest part? You can say getting setups, you can say finding a venue. All of that stuff is actually really easy if you really sit down and put the work towards it. The hardest part for me is that no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work, people are never going to really understand like the stress that you get put under. They don't see They only see the event. They don't see the hardships. They don't see you constantly trying to break your back for people. They don't give you the thanks that you need. And it's really hard for me because, the person I am, I'm not looking for attention. I've never been that type anymore. I shouldn't say ever. But
Anymore slash ever.
But in the end, I do this for others, and when all you want is, hey, can you help out a little bit? And, they're like, nah, screw you. That's the hard part is, for me personally, and this is the first time I've talked about this publicly, I feel alone. I feel very, very alone, and the only 3 people in this, like this, for example, Smash, that really understand or even comprehend all the things I'm doing just for Apex alone and for the community are basically you, Alpha Zelot, and maybe even he's not even in the community. He's just a fan, Nexi.
Yeah.
But I don't talk to Nexi. I only talk to you and Chris, AZ. It's rough. Because you don't see, I'm trying to take it somewhere. And a lot of TOs want to take their tournament to the next level. There's a lot of people that are hungry and want to do new things. But when you're the only one that thinks that way, it's very lonely. And nobody seems to, understand you or even agree with you. They just want things to stay the same. And that's the hardest thing, is just those concepts. And what basically it boils down to, the idea that you have to be the one to take the next step, and that they're not going to necessarily agree with you, but they're going to have to follow you. And, dealing with the people who want to stay the same no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general being a tournament host is one of the most selfless things you can do. Like, it takes a lot of work, just to put this together, and all the things you have to deal with at the event. But I also think people are in general a little bit change resistant. Like, everyone's just kind of used to something, and even if it's good, it kind of takes coaxing. I mean, I know initiatives we try to do within the community, like sometimes they catch on, and sometimes people are just set in their ways. But I think you just gotta fight the good fight and continue trying to grow and do as best you can. I think people help out in their own ways. Like one of the really cool things I thought about Apex last year is you guys went around with collection jars for people that were having car trouble or like miscellaneous
Yeah.
things, and it was cool to see like a lot of these guys don't have jobs and they don't have careers, they don't make a lot of money, but everyone was coming up with like $5 or $10 and finding ways and like
A lot. The one thing that really saddened me was that we were trying to do a donation drive for some of the Japanese players, and nobody wanted to donate. And I ended up donating 2,500 of my own personal money for them to go.
yeah,
And people will say like, "Why did you do that?" Because they're going to win anyway. I'm like, that's not what it's about. Like, if you actually talk to them, you hear the stories of why they don't have money and why there's stuff going on in their own personal lives, and you want to help them.
yeah,
And it's not just them. They're not the only people I've spent money for. There's these two buddy. I call them my two little buddies from Washington, Eggs and Silent Wolf.
mm,
I'm cool, really cool with Eggs, and Silent Wolf I was actually a fan of. So I always 2010 I actually bought their tickets, helped them buy their tickets. I also helped Larry, who won Apex that year. I've also helped so many people, and I don't say anything. I just say, here you go. Don't say anything. I don't want you to talk about it. And this is the first time I've talked about it. And they're not the only ones. Not just the top players. I'll help a low level player because they're really cool or they're just really nice. For example, Sklur, who hasn't played in years, says, "I want to go to Apex, but I need money." I said, "Okay, here you go. I'm going to be donating about $20-$30 for him." He already raised his money, though, I think. You have this kid named Zero, and this is the one
yeah,
that you were alluding to. The kid sold his Xbox to come to Apex last year,
yeah,
and I didn't find out about it until that day. So I just said we need to, let's have everybody donate $1, and with enough people, he'll get his Xbox back. And he did, and he promised me he wouldn't sell it, and he never did. So I respect him
good
for that.
man. Yeah, kept his word.
But I can just go on and on and on about all the people I've helped, all the people I've let in free. I'll just say one specific, and I'll go on. I'll leave it at that. I let Taupe in for free this year, and I have no problem saying that. And if anybody says, "Oh, why Taupe?" Blah blah blah, he serves in the military, and anybody who serves in the military can walk in my venue free, and that's always been a personal thing with me. And I don't really boast about that. And people can say, "Well, this, and this, and that." I'm like, no, these guys, they do something that's beyond what we do, and they should be rewarded for it. And any little thing counts. And I don't think people really think about that. They think about either, we gotta make sure these people come. They're gonna come if you try. You gotta make sure the money's right. The money's right if you keep attention, pay attention to it. We have to, be super strict. You can be strict, but you don't have to be a jerk. And people don't realize that. It's not just, hey, I gotta run this tournament fast. It's also public relations. It's also doing the little things that people really don't realize.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to help everyone and do right by everyone, but there's only so much money to go around, so you just got to make the best. But I mean, it's your tournament. If you think anyone should get in free, it's not up to the community to decide. It's up to you to decide. And like,
Yeah.
Tope being in the military has obviously earned it in my eyes, and he should have earned it, in any American's eyes. But there's
Yeah.
people that win prize money, and like maybe they shouldn't get as much as other people. But at the end of the day, like you're just trying to do right, and and
It,
that's all. That's all you can ask. I think that's all you can ask for any TO or any person.
yeah. The only thing I say about Taupe is like you don't have to support the war, but you can support the troops. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah,
My
and at the
three,
end of the day, this guy's risking her life, like regardless of
yeah.
what everyone feels about the war. Like he's
And
out
he
there.
isn't the only smasher that I know that went to the military. There's a couple
Yeah,
that I know that are serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. And then, my three best friends who are like I call my brothers are all NYPD. So
yeah,
it's, I have a very rich sense of, what means, more than what we do.
yeah, yeah. I mean, my cousin was in the military. I mean, I have friends that are police officers. I mean, both my grandparents were in the military, so Yeah, I mean that's a long history, but we need to stop being all depressing about history and
Oh
sadness
heck
and
yeah!
talk about fun things in this interview. So,
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
all right, but no, I mean I do think it's important to give back and try to do right by people. Like not everyone has the same opportunities you do. So I think
Mm.
thumbs up to all that. You're doing good things. So next up, being a tournament host, there's a lot of unexpected things. Like a lot of people think you go in there and run brackets, and the next thing you know, I broke up fights. We've had bomb threats at MLG. Like,
Yeah, you
we've had
told.
cops show
Was
up
it you?
for
Chris
the
told me. I
fire
just
code being
like.
broken, and you're trying to out there reason with police that all these kids came to a tournament. So you definitely, there's a lot, and at the end of the day, like you being the host, you're responsible for dealing with these situations that come up. So, what are some of the craziest kind of situations
Oh,
that have came
jeez, you
up?
have to ask me that after like the last 2 months. Yeah, after the last 2 months.
Hey, I know how to time
Oh,
it.
jeez. No, well, obviously the craziest thing I ever dealt with was the thing that happened at NEC, which was like it was rough because when you're that was the first time I dealt with anything that crazy,
Yeah,
and everybody knows what I'm talking about, so I won't even go into like the details of it. I just don't want to. But you have to be ready for anything. And anybody who says, "Well, you have to do this, you have to do that," they don't understand that when it happens at the moment, some people just don't know what to do. And even when you do the right thing, people don't know because they'd rather talk online and talk about what happened and they're not there. They don't know, like, we tried to do something, we tried to do what we can, and then, something happened. Again,
yeah,
it's just one of those situations where I thought I did all I could, and if I can go back in time, I'd probably do something different. But that's what being human's about,
yeah,
and I think that's another thing that I really think people should stress that we're all human beings. None of us are perfect, and they expect too much sometimes, and you have to live up to that, and it's very rough.
yeah.
But I mean, beyond that, I think the craziest thing I ever dealt with was it happened years ago. I hosted a tournament, and this kid who's actually, he got his life together, but back then he had a bit of a temper. um, he he lost the match, and he picked up a chair and broke a wall.
Yeah, that's pretty
And it
crazy.
took, and he's a big guy,
Yeah,
and to put in perspective, it took two people like Bum and West to bring him down, and they're pretty jacked up too. So it took two of them to break him down with all their strength. And it was kind of crazy. But, thankfully, he took some time off. He got his life together, and now he's fine. And,
yeah,
he loses, he doesn't care, he laughs. And that's what's great about him. He's
yeah.
fun-loving. And I think everybody should take that, it's okay to be serious, but it's sometimes you gotta,
Don't
there's a,
kill walls.
don't kill Walt. Walt,
Walls are nice to everyone. You can't kill walls.
oh yeah.
Is the moral of the story. But yeah, emotions run high, and things happen. And obviously, going into running a tournament, you're not expecting to deal with anyone breaking walls with chairs. So
You
it's
have to put rules in because you're paranoid. And I mean, for Apex, I have a crap load of conduct rules. There's like at least 2 pages worth,
yeah,
and like we even said it like it's rough because you got to deal with like heckling. You got to deal with a lot of things. Which once we get a certain sponsor, we'll get a bunch of headsets. Well, we have the sponsor. It's just waiting for them to approve our press release. We're gonna get some headsets for the finals and all that.
cool, cool.
But that's pretty much, you just got to deal with it at the time and, make the decisions you think are right at that point in time.
Yeah. All right. So the last serious question is, you've been around for a while. Apex Series has obviously grown immensely. What kind of advice would you give to other tournament hosts or people that are trying to grow their event? Like,
Hmm. Don't be like everybody else. Don't think you have to be this version of this or that version of that. When I started, I just said I'm going to make something different. And I wanted to make something where we all sat there and we said, wow, like this is what we need. I said, you know, MLG was around at the time when I started. And once MLG finished with Melee, I just felt like we need something like that still. And it took me a couple of years to really think about it and think how I wanted to do it. And then even then, I still had to work hard. And that's another big thing. Like, just don't give up. Don't. My first tournament, I had 26 people. and I had $1,000 pot bonus. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I
It's a
could have
pretty good
gave.
ratio. I mean, those are the best odds you're ever going to get at a Smash
Oh,
tournament. 1K pot bonus
no,
for 26 people. You just got to beat out 25.
DJ Nintendo won, and his friend and his crew, the crew back then, they won a lot of money. They won the money,
Yeah.
which is hilarious. But you just don't give up. One of the things that I was told by Craig Torble, excuse me, Craig Levine from Torble. If you don't know him, then you don't know esports. He created Team 3D. If you don't know that, then go watch Counter Strike. But one of the things I learned from him is, in order to be really good in the community, you have to really be devoted to it. You have to love it. And every game I have on my circuit, I love, or I at least respect. There's no game I talk down about. There's no game publicly. I have my opinions on certain games, but I respect the people who play them. And a lot of TOs don't do that. A lot of TOs say, I hate this game, but this game's cool, but we're going to have this game also for money. And you can't do that because people are not going to come. And when you insult one crowd or the other, they're not going to come back. And they're going to sit there and say, well, if you're not going to treat us equally, then why are we going to go there in the first place? And then you start doing the uphill battle. And there are some TOs that just don't care. And I say the bottom line is, if you don't like a game, don't host it, because then you're gonna hate yourself. And that's what happened to me when I first started. I hosted every game, and I didn't like a lot of them. And it just got boring, and I became miserable. Now I just do the ones I like. And I think the one final thing I would say is, when you do a tournament, the main thing you should always remember that has helped me is that no matter what happens, no matter good or bad, you're doing something that 90% of the community can't do or won't do. And when at the end of the day, when you're done, when you're the last one packing, remember that, and your life will be always just a little bit better.
Cool. All right, so now we're going to get into our rapid fire series of questions. I'm going to tell you a question. You got to give me the first answer that pops in your head. This no thinking, no talking, just direct answers. Are you ready?
Where I get in trouble.
Feeling good about this one?
No.
All right. So first question. This is the easy one. Pizza or steak?
Pizza.
All right.
New York.
Ball or melee?
Damn. No comment.
Wow. Look at the tournament host. Ambiguous answer.
I can't. You
All right.
really can't answer that. Go ahead.
All right. So the next one. Allie, Mango, Mewtwo King, and Armada. You got to marry one, kill one, host a tournament with one, and sleep with one.
What?
Let's go.
Say that list again?
All right. Your players are Allie, Mango, Mewtwo King, and Armada. You got to marry one, kill one, host a tournament with one, and sleep with one.
Also, tournament one's Armada.
All right.
Marry one would be.
You're probably marrying for the money. So who's the richest of those four?
Oh, the richest is Elliot, I think.
All right. So
I would marry Elliot. I would marry Ally.
All right. So now you got to kill one and sleep with one. So one's a one night stand, another one you're killing.
Oh, geez, this is gonna sound horrible. It's just like I love Jason's a great guy, but I would not sleep with him.
So all right, Mewtwo King's getting killed, and Mango's getting a one night stand.
Lego would get a one night. No, honestly, let me change that answer. Let me say I would have a one night stand with Ally over Mango, and I'm not gay. I'm
Yeah,
straight.
clearly. I mean, you only have four guy choices, so.
So that's that, and I would. Well, what did I say? I would host.
Thinking way too hard. We're sticking with the original one. You're marrying Elliot for his money. You're killing Mewtwo King. You're hosting a tournament with Armada, and you're sleeping with Mango for one night stand. I'm not letting you change. All right. So next question. Assume you're a single man. You either get a night with a Playboy model or $25,000. What do you pick?
I would pick $25,000 and get a master's degree, and I'll meet somebody that's more intelligent and more fun to be around than a Playboy model.
All right. Fair enough. All right. One character, Nintendo or otherwise, that you think should be in the next Smash game.
Sonic.
Sonic. He's
Sonic.
already in a Smash game.
That's it. If you know me, you know I'm a huge Sonic fan.
All right. Sonic should never leave Smash games is the answer.
Sonic should always be in every Smash game from this point further.
All right, last rapid fire question. You've become an instant celebrity. They want you on Survivor, The Bachelor, or Wipeout. Pick one show.
Survivor, because I think I could do better than Ken.
All right, there we go. Ken, you're getting called out in Survivor. John, thanks for sitting down with me. For anyone that wants to check out Apex Series, it's going to be this January at Rutgers University. What's the URL? I just always Google Apex Series.
Everybody does. www.apex-series.com.
There you go. You can check out more about Apex Series, and this is happen every year, and knock on wood, it'll be next year. So definitely check it out. It's a great event. Thanks for sitting down. Take care, and that's about it.
Later
Later,
days.
everyone.